Good morning. Happy Thursday. I hope that you guys are. Good morning, Miss Whitty. I hope that you guys are having a great week back at school. Today we are going to be talking about genetics, and when we talk about genetics, we have to talk about reproduction. So if you printed out the printable notes, we're going to start at the very top of your page, right up here, to talk about what genetics are. Genetics are the study of heredity, things passed down from one generation to the next. When we hear the word genetics, a lot of us think about what color hair we have, or what color eyes we have, or looking like our parents, or how tall we are. Those are traits or characteristics that are passed down from our biological parents to us, right? And so we're going to be discussing and looking at how those things are passed down. Now, some things are passed down and they're good or helpful to us, right? Maybe you're really good at athletics and your parents are also really athletic. Some things can be negative, right? So there's certain genes that we've isolated and found that actually code for different cancers and make us more susceptible to certain diseases. So understanding our genetics is really important for being able to preserve and take care of ourselves over the course of our life and our children, and so on and so forth. Now we're going to look in that box at the right underneath, and we're going to fill in some inherited traits. Inherited traits are things that are passed down biologically from your biological parents to you. So things like freckles, what color your hair is, if you have dimples or not, maybe you wear glasses or contacts and your parents also wear glasses or contacts. Maybe you have curly hair or straight hair. All of those things are genetics. They have to do with the genes that we have that are passed down from our parents to us. Now we're going to talk a little bit about reproduction. There are two main types of reproduction, and we have to really know and understand how both of them work in order to understand how genetics are passed down. So in asexual reproduction, that's one parent. It produces an exact copy of itself that's identical to the parent. So for example, on a starfish, if a starfish has an arm that breaks off, the starfish grows the arm back, and the arm that broke off can actually turn into a new starfish that's an exact copy of the one before, right? The same thing happens with certain succulents, those little cactus-like plants that are really popular right now. If you break off a leaf, you can put it in the dirt and it will grow into a new. That's called propagation. And so several types of plants can be propagated, and maybe even your mom or your dad or one of your grandparents has broken off a branch from a plant that they really like because they wanted another one. And so they put it in a little water in the kitchen and it starts to grow roots. That's an exact copy, right? Sexual reproduction is different. It involves two parents with different genetic codes, and they each contribute half of that genetic code to create offspring that, just like our little chickens over here, are different than the parents, right? So each parent looks different, and then the offspring are also different. This creates a lot of diversity, which is why we have so many people who look so different, and you don't look like anybody exactly, right? Unless maybe you're an identical twin. Which we do have a couple of those at 7th grade this year. But when we talk about diversity, diversity has to do, and biodiversity especially, it's how differently things are, not just looking, but on a genetic level. And that means that they're more able to survive. And that's good for people and for all organisms. So now we're going to come down to the bottom, and we're going to talk about some of those behaviors that can increase the chances of reproduction. And we're going to start with plants because that's kind of where we've been this week. We've been talking about plants, and plants have some special things that help them be able to survive in their environment. They have bright flowers, and those bright flowers attract certain insects and birds that can see those bright colors on the UV spectrum. And when they see those bright flowers, they want to go to them. And guess what? They pick up pollen. Pollen is how plants have sexual reproduction, right? Guess what? There are male plants and female plants. And we need pollinators like bees, butterflies, and birds to help carry that pollen, the male sperm, if you will, of the plant, and take it to the female flowers so that it can create seeds, right? We also have seeds that when they're made are really specially shaped. Some of them are made and they catch the wind, like dandelions. When you blow them, they scatter everywhere. Some of them, like sand spurs or burrs, those are seeds that can grab onto. Maybe you've gotten one stuck on your pants or maybe in your foot and it hurts, right? Because they're really grabby. And they can be carried not just by us, but by animals that walk by the plant. They be transported so that they can have a better chance of survival. Fruit that has seeds inside, like pomegranates, apples, oranges, all of those kinds of fruits have seeds inside them. Well, unless it's a monkey, it's not really picking out the seeds. It just eats the whole thing. And then when it poops out the seeds. And guess what? That pile of fertilizer is going to help that fruit seed grow into a plant, right? Because it's going to have a nice, healthy environment that's great for growing plants. Now, if you look in the middle box, or if you're putting this in your notes, you can put you a box about animal behavior. So we talked a little about plants. Now, there's some things that animals do that also help increase their chances of survival. A lot of animals like deer, elk, if you like to go hunting, you maybe even have used that vocalization to help you get a deer, right? And so that deer call helps, or it makes a male deer think that there's a female in the area, right? That mating call. Certain birds have different dances or ways that they show their feathers to be able to attract a mate. Some types of birds even dance or build a nest for the female, and the female can choose which nest she wants to live in. Nest building also helps with protection for the eggs and chicks that will be in the nest. And certain herd cultures like elephants and gazelles, they put their young in the middle of the herd so that they're not on the outside edges where predators are more likely to be. Last box. That's quick notes today. Some other things that help both plants and animals, right? Animal behaviors that help plants be able to reproduce. We talked a little bit about pollinators, right? Insects that carry pollen, the male sex cell from male flowers to female flowers to be able to be grown into seeds, right? That's how fertilization happens. So sexual reproduction happens in lots of different ways. From when we did the frog dissection, we talked about that cloaca where the eggs and the sperm are ejected from the frog. Eggs are laid right after the male frog comes and fertilizes the eggs with his sperm. So all different types of behaviors can help reproduction happen. Seeds can stick to animal fur. We talked about those burrs and things that kind of have those grabby edges that can make it be able to be transported farther. And then droppings provide fertilizer for plants, that especially when seeds are eaten, or if there's a field where maybe there's a farm and there's a lot of manure, that can be a really great fertilizer for that field for the next year. So all of those things help work together to create that genetic part, right? Reproduction is part of the genetics. We can't have genetics if we don't have reproduction. So remember, asexual reproduction, one single parent, very small amount of diversity because it is a direct copy of the original parent. Sexual reproduction, very diverse because you're getting one set of instructions from each parent and creating a unique genetic code in the offspring. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you tomorrow.
What are you doing?
Making a video.